Welcome back, everybody. My name is Kurt, and this is my channel, Madras Arsenal. Today we are talking about the Battle of the Washita River. Look at him go. Or the Washita River. In 1868, it was November, about the 26th, the evening of the 26th, General Custer trails these natives that had been on a raiding party. Custer utilized the terrain to his advantage, which a good commander is going to do. This is also the battle where Captain Benteen is going to form a severe hatred and resentment towards General Custer. And it's probably this resentment that plays a key factor in the Battle of the Little Bighorn. So behind me is the hill that Custer would have taken position on. He was going to observe the battle from that location. That's where he was given his orders, and he was directing the battle. The battle only lasted for about 10 minutes, but he quickly crossed the river on his horse, made it to the highest point, which, from what he could tell, was this hill right here. And as I said, that's where he started directing the battle from. Behind me, on this grassy plain between us and the river, is where the camp would have been set up. I think there was about 400-ish natives that were in this camp. It was very quickly overrun. As you can see, the bluffs or that ridge behind us, that's where Custer, the night prior, probably around midnight is what they said, is where he set up his camp. Waited a couple hours, and the early morning hours, they split into 4 different groups, and that's when they attacked. They attacked from the north, the northeast, the west, and the south. And like I said, the battle was over in 10 minutes. It really wasn't a battle. It was more along the lines of a massacre, but we'll get more onto that here later. So let's continue on down the trail. That's the ridge that Custer would have been behind the night before. And this is where the village was located. Behind me is where the whole village was located. Like I said, all the lodges, all the teepees that were here. And let's continue on down the trail to where they killed the ponies. So just to give you more of an idea of how big the village would have been, 400 lodges, that's a lot. That's a lot of teepees and you know, dwellings. And it would have covered this entire area back here. And yes, you did have the 7th Cavalry that was doing that, but it was huge. So I just kind of wanted to give you an idea. Okay, so we are coming up on the river, and the river is a very culturally sensitive area because that's where the camp was right next to it. But there's these prayer cloths that are tied to trees and various other objects. It's not appropriate to photograph or film them, so I'm going to refrain from doing that. So I can't exactly show you the river unless I can find a spot right next to it, which I could probably do. So we're going to go down there. I'm going to see what I can film. But yeah, this is where the 7th Cavalry would have made their leap across the river and started going into the camp. But if you're wondering what book I'm using to reference a lot of this, it is The Great Plains Guide to Custer, 85 Forts, Fights, and Other Sites. It was written by Jeff Barnes. It's been a really good reference, and it documents Custer's travels all throughout the Western Plains, and it's a really, really good book. So consider checking that out. It's not a sponsor or anything, it's just a really good resource that I found, and I'm just sharing that knowledge with you guys. All right, let's continue on with our tour. Okay, so right behind me is the bank. I don't know if you can make it out in the video, but it's the bank, and right below is the Washita River. This is right where the 7th Cavalry would have been coming down this bank, across this river, and basically where you're standing or sitting is where the camp was. And so they would have come right through here on horse, full speed. They were playing Gary Owen, which was the like anthem of the 7th Cavalry, still is. You can see them down at Fort Cavazos. What's interesting, I don't know what's more impressive, the fact that they decided to have the bugler play a song, or actually they say they had the whole band, so I don't know how many soldiers that would have been, or the fact they were able to play that song on horseback while on a full charge. So that's kind of impressive in two different aspects. But yeah, so this is pretty much the spot where they would have come through, you know, across the river. And let's continue on as we navigate through the camp. So let's get going. Are you someone like me who is completely obsessed with military history? If so, you've definitely come to the right place. Do you like MRE reviews, how soldiers shaved in the field? Maybe you're interested in what they ate or drank every single day. Maybe you like gun videos. My channel is exactly what you're looking for. I have everything that is dedicated to military history. Does your wife get irritated at how much you spend on your collection? Mine does too. Your membership directly impacts my channel and allows me to bring you better military history content. I have the most affordable membership program on YouTube. At 99 cents, you get access to everything a member can on my channel. My membership program has 7 different levels. Each level is determined on how long you're a member for. For only 99 cents a month, you can become a member of my channel and support the military history community. If my channel is something that you're looking for, then please consider becoming a member. I would love to see you there. Okay, so we just crossed the river and I'm turning around because I want you guys to see what Custer was thinking. This is the hill that Custer took a position on. So that's what he was seeing. He had his eye on the highest point and that's what he went for. Okay, so we are in the heart of camp. We just came from the river. I showed you where the 7th Cavalry came across the river, and now they're moving into the camp pretty much on all directions. Surrounded. The fleeing natives take I guess it's a southwestern escape route, and unfortunately his wife, even though they had a white flag on there and an American flag on their teepee, they wound up getting shot in the back as they were trying to flee. The reason for this was there was, as I said earlier, some natives, there's a few of them, I think it was like around 10, they went and they raided a settlement of American citizens, and they were traced back to here. And Black Kettle, I think at the time, was trying to figure out who it was, but before he could, Custer was already behind the bluffs and they made their attack. And that was ordered by General Sheridan, who, what I've kind of come to find out, maybe not find out, but just my own way of thinking is, you know, maybe General Sheridan used Custer a lot to kind of do his dirty work. Custer was very effective at it. He was a great Indian fighter. He was very successful in the Civil War, and he was equally successful out west, you know, out in this region. I think this battle, in my opinion, played a significant role in Custer's overconfidence at the Little Bighorn. This battle lasted for about 10 minutes, as I've said a few times in this video, and I think Custer anticipated that at the Little Bighorn. I don't think he realized the scale of the camp at Little Bighorn. In a few of those details, I think he did not receive either. I don't think he had the proper intelligence with his scouts, but I also think he ignored some of that because he was a little bit overconfident. But that's going to be in a later video where I really dive deep into Custer's decision-making process for the Little Bighorn. So let's continue on with the Battle of the Washita River, and yeah, let's keep on heading down the trail. For all my deer hunters, check this out. Okay, back to our paid programming. Okay, so we've come up to the edge of the camp. This is where the 7th Cavalry kind of halted, consolidated, and they rounded up the ponies of the natives. And we're going to run over here, or not run over, but walk over here, show you where they killed a lot of them. Around 43 women and children and natives were killed. Estimates are varying on both sides. Custer took about 53 captives, women and children. That was a tactic of his, and it worked very well. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. And now we're going to walk over and show you where the 7th Cavalry executed the horses. Okay, so this is the site of where the ponies were executed. 7th Cavalry put down about 625 ponies. These were vital to the Native Americans' way of life. It also enabled them to raid at long distances. Once the 7th Cavalry was consolidating all of the things that they began to find evidence of raids on white settlements and things like that within the camp, stolen goods, stolen materials, that. I'm not exactly sure how they would have gone about executing. Maybe they brought them one by one up at the bluff, shot them, so they'd roll down the hill. I'm not sure exactly. The records say, but this is kind of the consolidation point for that. And we're going to continue on the hill and continue on with our tour. Here's another view looking down where they executed the ponies. So that's why I have a feeling maybe they brought them up on this little ridge and just started throwing them down as they shot them. I could be wrong, but it's just a theory. So this is a very unique place. Custer utilized the terrain to his advantage, which a good commander is going to do. Now, General Sheridan gave the order to kill, burn, and destroy all the Native American villages that they could. Take their ponies, hang the warriors, etc., and take the women and children captive. This was the Army's first attempt, or first battle of a total war mindset against the Native Americans. Now, Custer was very smart. He was a great Civil War cavalry officer. That again in the West, all the way up to the Little Bighorn. The actions that he did here gave him the confidence to attack, I think, at the Little Bighorn. I'll get into that in a later video. But this is where it happened. This is the very first of it. This is also the battle where Captain Benteen is going to form a severe hatred and resentment towards General Custer. And it's probably this resentment that plays a key factor in the Battle of the Little Bighorn. So, alright, so it looks like this would have been the original site of Fort Cobb. It's private property, and so can't really get over there. But that's it. So as we are driving, this area would have been Fort Cobb. It would have been the original. It was actually a really terrible location, and the reason for that is there was no place to graze for the horses. General Sheridan even said this place was a place from hell. And what eventually happened was, after the Battle of Washita, the 7th Cavalry sent out some scouts down to Medicine Creek, which is modern-day Medicine Park. That's where they established Fort Sill, and at first it was called Camp Wichita, and that was under the direction of General Custer, and he was the one that established the camp, so he founded Fort Sill, essentially. But at that time it was Camp Wichita. Now over here to the right, in these fields, is where the 7th Cavalry would have been set up camp. This is where they would have had their encampment. They would have had an area for stables for their pony or for the horses, and yeah. So this is Fort Cobb, and yeah, there's not much left of it from a military standpoint. It's a town now, a rural agricultural town. So.